As I think of my education, my first thoughts go to my parents. I had come out of a multi-generational black educated family. The thing I remember most about my early schooling was my dependence upon one or two teachers. I still remember Miss Perkins, my first grade teacher, and she went out of her way to support me. I can remember some days standing on the playground holding on to her finger. So early on, I got tuned into the importance of what I have subsequently written about. I call it supplementary education. It's the education that occurs outside of school.
Because as you were talking about your parents' home, it actually made me think about the Institute for Urban and Minority Education. I think of UME as a very multi-generational space, and it really has become a kind of intellectual family. Was that deliberate when you founded UME?
I can't conceive of how I would not. I have always experienced education as having primarily to do with relations between people, in which better positioned or more mature, more experienced, the ways in which the people who know help the people who don't know.
What do you see as the biggest positive changes in education for students in general and for Black students in particular?
One of the most consequential changes is the embrace of epigenetic over genetic perspectives on development. When I came into the field, we were actively debating the nature-nurture controversy. One of the primary changes, I think, has been in the conceptions of what is possible in the process of becoming, rather than what can be predicted measures of developed ability.
I know that you and Dr. Susan were great patrons of artists, particularly Charles White, who comes to mind, whose work I admire so much.
For both Susan and for me, art was a part of our childhood. My parents, who were themselves appreciative of art, and even more than that, they were respectful of the artists. My sister and I grew up thinking that artists were people you were supposed to admire and respect and care for. So when about 26 or 27, I ran into another young Black artist, Charles White. We almost immediately bonded when he was most productive artistically. Susan and I were helping to pay his rent, to help him feed his family. And he kind of became a brother to her and to me. And his work, of course, became a part of our soul and spirit.
Are there lessons that we can learn from that in education?
I don't think it is by accident that I became an educator. I take my own experience to mean that these early experiences, and especially positive, trusting experiences with accomplished adults, means a lot. Through much of my career, I never got far away from Miss Perkins' care of me in first grade, and I related to my students in much the same way, trying to be supportive, trying to be there for them, trying to inspire, trying to protect, trying to lift them higher.